That is so good. Oh, it's quite strong. Which sounds really, really lame. Absolutely fabulous. I freaking love them. For me, this was quite a big one where I was like, okay, I could go here. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm literally being blinded by the house that my window looks out on because the sun is just like, it's a direct like rebound, you know what I mean? And I can barely see the viewfinder. So I hope I'm in shot because otherwise this video is not going to go too well. But I'm really excited today because I'm going to be talking all about why I chose the University of Greenwich. So if you don't know, hi, my name's Amber. I went to the University of Greenwich for 4 years. I took a year out to do an internship, but I studied events management, and I've done a lot of videos about the University of Greenwich, like the pros, the cons, things I like about it, things I don't, just like the university in general, things that the university doesn't tell you, all of those kind of things, because I know there's not really a lot out there about the University of Greenwich, and a lot of students are really interested, especially I have a lot of international students DM me and ask me questions and things. So I thought I'd do like a dedicated video just about why I personally chose to go to the University of Greenwich, obviously the bits I really like. This video is going to be completely biased, obviously, because I did go there. I did choose the University of Greenwich and it's the only university I've ever experienced. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit biased, but I thought it'd be useful for anyone out there still trying to decide between universities or trying to decide which university is right for them, the right fit, and maybe you can't go and look around the university because of the current climate we're in with lockdown and everything. So I just wanted to give my little 2 cents about why I personally chose the University of Greenwich and just like give you a little bit of advice about what the university is like, give you a little bit of insight about the university, and hopefully this video is really useful. I just had to get my phone, so I really hope I'm still in focus. So I have a full list, as always, on my phone of all the reasons why I chose the University of Greenwich. I'm not gonna lie, there are only like 5 or 6 topics, but I really wanted to go into detail about it and just really explain like my mindset, where my head was at, and how the university like checked my boxes, I guess. So I would probably say the first thing that really caught my attention, which is kind of superficial, but was the building itself. The University of Greenwich campus, the building, is just stunning. It's on a heritage site. It, like, Henry VIII used to live on the grounds. Like, it's very, very old school. I can't remember what year it was built, but it's very old. It was designed by Sir Christopher Wren. So this building is just stunning, and it's right on the riverfront. So immediately when you go, you feel like you've been transported to like Harry Potter or something. It's that kind of that old school kind of university, and it's just a stunning place to be. And for me, being English, being like a fan of like history and our heritage and things, it just made me feel like really special to be able to walk those grounds, I guess. I don't know if that's a bit strange, but the buildings were just stunning. It was such a draw to me, just because you're in London, you're in this beautiful place, you're right on the Thames, and it just felt like a little bit magical, which sounds really lame, but I'm just trying to be honest. And on my first day, on my like look around, I can't remember what you call it, like an open day, I guess, looking around, that was my initial like, oh my gosh, this is stunning, I can't believe I could potentially go here. And definitely throughout my time walking around the University of Greenwich, whenever I felt homesick or something, getting on the grounds and walking to lectures, and like the sun would be pouring through the buildings and things, you just kind of take a moment to be really grateful for where you're at and think, like, have a little bit of a check-in with yourself, like, wow, this is where I go to university, this is really cool. So that was the initial draw for me, especially like taking those first steps onto the campus after driving for 2.5 hours to get there or what have you, was just like, wow, this is stunning. The next thing that really drew me to the university itself was the lecturers. We had a kind of like a mock lecture, or just like a introduction lecture, I guess, on our open day, where one of the lecturers just spoke through with us what the course was going to be about, why she was excited to teach it and everything like that. And I had a chance to speak to quite a few of the lecturers whilst I was there. They were kind of dotted around, happy to help, and those were lecturers for my course, obviously. And it was just like, they just were so passionate about what they were teaching. They were all really excited. Obviously it's open day, they know their prospective students are there, so they're going to be putting on a little bit of a show, but I just got a really good vibe. Everyone was so lovely, so willing to help, and just really like forthcoming, I guess, and welcoming, and they all seem to know a lot about the subject, thankfully, but just seemed really excited to teach it. And that just made me feel like I was in good hands and made me excited as well to be taught by these people. They all had industry knowledge, which I thought was really useful, because events management is very hands-on career, hands-on industry. You have to kind of have knowledge about it. You just can't just really like talk about it from books. So that was really useful and like really important to me as well. And then throughout my university, I did find that stayed, which was really lucky. I think I only had like maybe one lecturer, which I was like not too keen on. All the other ones, absolutely fabulous. I freaking loved them. They were really, really helpful anytime I emailed them or asked for help. They were more than happy to do so, and I found that they often went above and beyond just because they were so passionate about their industry. They loved events management, that if you asked them a very simple question which could have had like a 1-sentence answer, they could have spoken about it for hours, and they were more than happy to schedule in like office hours or after hours and things like that, after lectures, to like talk to you and explain things and make sure that you got the good grades. Obviously the university wants you to get good grades, and so do the lecturers, so they're more than willing to help, and it just felt really nice to have that kind of solid support system and just a little bit more of a like connection to the industry, I guess. It was really, really lovely. So kind of with that, the thing we learned on the open day was about the course content, and for me this was quite a big one where I was like, okay, I could go here, because all the other events management programs I had looked at had like a maths module or an economics module, and Greenwich didn't, which I was so happy about. So I would definitely say if you're trying to figure out which uni you want to go to, have a look at what the course content includes. A lot of people did like budgets and everything like that, which in the long run probably would have been helpful, especially after doing my internship and having to make budgets and everything like that. But I just knew if I had a full term, a full 3 months of like economics, it just wasn't for me. I'm not a math person, so that was really good for me as well. And the course content was quite creative in the sense like they had event marketing and event design and things like that, so things that were a little bit more creative that you could put your own spin on and just get really interested in, which was great. Obviously there were some of the course subjects which weren't as interesting, but I just feel like looking through that to start with, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, and you can kind of prepare yourself and just see which things you think you really like, or if there's any options you can figure out what options you're going to go for. That again was really good for me because they had a corporate events option, which is what I wanted to go into, so I thought I could specialise in that. So it was just all kind of lining up in terms of what the course offered and what I wanted out of the course, which was really, really helpful. Obviously I can only speak for events management with that one, but it's just something to check out and look out for when you're applying to a university or when you're choosing between 2 different kinds of courses, because not every course is the same. Oh, I'm speaking too fast. The next key factor for me was all about the university's reputation, and obviously I'm speaking about 4 years ago when I decided to go to the university, but at the time the university had pretty good reputation. They were #1 for events in London, which was a huge plus, and they all had like pretty good rankings when it came to like student satisfaction and jobs out of uni and things like that. For my course specifically, obviously the reputation is going to vary between courses, but the overall reputation of the uni is pretty good. I've heard some people say like it isn't too good, but from everything I've heard and going into like interviews and things, my employers all seem pretty impressed that I went to the University of Greenwich. It's not like a bad mark against my name or anything, so I wouldn't take that to heart too much, but just consider what the kind of rates are in terms of like your jobs afterwards, like your job prospects and like student satisfaction and everything like that, just so you can tick those off as well, and there's like proof in the pudding that their results from previous students, so it's really good to look at and kind of get an idea of what you're getting yourself into. The next thing that drew me to the University of Greenwich was the facilities. As I said, the University of Greenwich is very old, but in terms of their library it was really new, so I quite liked having that balance where I could like decide to go work in a heritage building and like study in there if I wanted to, but I could also go to their very newly like furbished and advanced library and use the Macs and find all the books I needed to and chill out on a sofa and like have Starbucks, you know. So they had a bit of both, which I really, really liked because it just gave you options, I guess, and it meant that I wasn't just going to be limited by the university's facilities, I guess, and like their old computers or like the lack of, I don't know, aircon or whatever, do you know what I mean? Because it is such an old building, I could get those things in the library, which was really nice. And I just found like the library kind of ticked all the boxes in terms of like you're going to spend a lot of time in the library, so you want to make sure that it's kind of the right fit for you and has everything you think you're going to need. So they had like study like hubs, like little bubbles you could sit in. They had rooms you could rent out for bigger groups and group work. They had different floors, so it would be like group work, quiet, and then silent floors, which I personally love because I need like absolute silence when I'm trying to write a paper, so that was really good. And they had plenty of computer space, all the books were laid out, they had loads of people in there like working who were there to help you and help figure things out. And the university also provided services, so if you needed help with like Harvard referencing or how to find certain articles online and things, they were there to help with that. So I just found that it was like a pretty good all-in-one, you know. It had the best of both worlds, and I could kind of choose between that, and it just kind of ticked another box, I guess. The next reason why I chose the University of Greenwich was just for the area in general. Like, Greenwich itself was stunning, and obviously you shouldn't just base your university decision off the area, because the university needs to be good as well. But at the end of the day, you are going to be living there. That is going to be your first introduction to this new place, and that might be the first time you're living by yourself, so you want to feel comfortable in the area, and like not like that you're in danger or it's a bit dodgy or anything like that. And moving from a small seaside town like I did into London was very intimidating, but I found that Greenwich was kind of like the perfect like mid-ground, I guess. It's very central to London. It's literally like over the river from Canary Wharf. It takes like 20 minutes to get into London Bridge. It's super close. I think it's SE8 or SE10 or something like that. Like, it's not too far out at all, but it's really small. You could probably walk across it in like 10-15 minutes, if that, and it's full of like tiny boutique shops, and there's a huge park. Greenwich Park is huge and also very pretty, so it just made me feel a little bit more at home. It was just like a little bit slower pace of life than like central London, and I could really feel like part of the community there. I already found like vintage markets and just the Greenwich market that they have pretty much every day when I went on the open day, and I freaking love a market, so that was instantly a big plus for me. And it just had a really nice feel to it, a nice like welcoming vibe, I guess is the only word I can think to use. But I just felt really at home there, which was really lovely. It was, yeah, just a good stepping stone up until I get to like proper pucker London. Obviously it's still London, but going from Bournemouth, small seaside town, to Greenwich and then like working in London, it was just like the right move to make. I think it was like a tiny step up, which was very manageable and still an adjustment, still a huge transition, but just made it that little bit easier. So I would definitely like write a list maybe, or some things that are really important for you to have in your area, or just some of the vibes you want to get. Some like I wanted to feel safe, I wanted to have a bit of sense of community, all of those kind of things, so that you can just tick them off in your area. I guess the other reason why I decided to go with the University of Greenwich was because it was the only university I actually looked around at in London. And speaking about events management, obviously London is a great place to be for events, so that was kind of another thing that drew me, because I could have so many job opportunity, and like the prospects from going to that university were just far greater than if I had to go on to like Bournemouth or Winchester or anything like that, and because I would probably have to move to London anyway. This way I already had the experience of London, I knew where things were, what London was about, and had an idea about London's event market already, because I had like volunteered and worked part-time in those events. So it's just important to consider like what your long-term goals are, I guess, like where you want to be after university, what you want your career to look like, and whether the area you're going into at your university, like where your university is going to help you get there. So for me that was really important that I did decide to go to a London university, even though I was convinced I did not want to go to a university in the city. Joke's on me, because I freaking loved it. But yeah, that's something I had to consider, and it just made more sense, I guess, paying that much money to go to a university in an area that I eventually wanted to live in, work in, and already have that experience of London. So then I guess the overarching reason of why I decided to go to Greenwich was just the fit of the university to my checklist, I guess. I think anyone going into university or deciding what university to go to does need to kind of either write a proper list or just have a mental list or a mental note of the things that are important for you, like what you want to check off on that list that's important for your university to have and the area to have, and just whether that university that you're visiting, but whether you're choosing between 5 or 10 universities, which university fits that criteria the best. And the University of Greenwich definitely did that for me. It was in London, it had a really good course and lecturers, it was a stunning place, I liked the area and I felt comfortable there, and I think they were kind of my top 5 like tick-offs that I wanted to achieve, and the University of Greenwich did that for me. So whether that's the same for you, whether the University of Greenwich ticks all your boxes and you're sat there thinking, oh yeah, actually all of those things are what I'm looking for as well, or whether you're thinking actually this university probably suits me a little bit better, whichever it is, just consider the fit of the university. You're going to be there for 3 years, you're going to spend a lot of money getting your education, so you want it to be a university you like, a university that works for you, and a university that you can get the most out of in the long run for your career and for your future and for future job opportunities, you know. So just all things to consider, but they are the main reasons why I chose the University of Greenwich. Obviously I've just spent like the last minute praising the University of Greenwich, why it's so great. It obviously has its cons as well, which if you did want to watch that video I will leave it down below, but I just thought it'd be really fun to kind of just highlight the things I thought were really important, highlight the reasons why I chose the University of Greenwich, and highlight the good points, I guess, all in one video, just in case you were thinking about going to the University of Greenwich, needed a little helping hand, and just needed a one-stop shop for all of the good bits, all of the things that were noteworthy, that I enjoyed from a graduate. But yeah, they were all my reasons for going to the University of Greenwich, for choosing the University of Greenwich. I hope you found some value in this video, and maybe I talked about some things that you hadn't considered, or different criteria that matched yours as well. But if you have liked this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below. And if you are also a University of Greenwich student or a graduate, or you have any other things that you thought about the University of Greenwich which were really important, please leave those down in the comments below for any other viewers watching this video. But if you have liked this video, hit thumbs up, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. Bye!